Hey, it's Vanessa Love. All right. So some good news. I've had enough people watch my videos that now I am able to monetize through YouTube. It's probably going to be about 10 cents a month, but still something. Um, all right. So I wanted to talk today about whether or not I recommend going into art therapy. And I'm going to use personal experience here, just kind of letting you know ahead of time. So, um, I think it depends on the person as far as whether or not someone should decide to go into art therapy. If I had stayed with my college boyfriend, then and he got a job at this place in Connecticut called Sikorsky, because I know that he could have done that type of work. I would have worked a facility and paid off my bills, and it nothing like it wouldn't have been a problem, because I think with a caring and supportive and nurturing person and the ability to be like, hey, fuck everyone, I'm gonna like go off and like have a fucking day off for mental health, I would have stayed in a facility. Like I would have worked in one. um, it probably wouldn't have been too bad, because then I probably would have had a work life balance. But when I moved to Connecticut, my college boyfriend, decided not to, and we thought that we could probably work it out, and it just ended up that we couldn't. Um, so I didn't go that route. So you know, I think that it depends on if you are in a relationship and you're willing to get paid like crap. But if, you're with someone who's going to make a lot of money, then you probably don't have to worry about it. You are contributing to society, and, it doesn't matter if you have an actual license or an ATR, your recognition in the field. Um, but if you are like many other people who go into this field, and you end up becoming a single person, and I'm mostly talking from a stance of being a woman and being single, um, then you don't go into the field. One of my friends from the art therapy program, she's struggling a lot, and I think it's also a struggle for her, because someone who she knows from her, like who used to work with her, is kind of calling into question for her as to whether or not she's doing art therapy. She's working with people with disabilities, and people with disabilities obviously have limitations in what they can and can't do. You can't ask someone who is a low functioning person if they can color, their feelings out. You might only be working on skills like, can they hold this weighted paintbrush today? Can they, like finger paint today? You really have to modify. It's not the stuff that you read about when you're going through school, where they're like, yeah, so this person had this really spiritual experience in Ireland, and we all went on this retreat, and we were focused on ourselves, and we're focused on our spirituality. Like, you don't get those experiences, because you're working more on, is this what they can do today? um and so one of I guess our other classmates is kind of like, are you really doing art therapy? So that, I mean, that hurts. It hurts on so many levels. So she's a single person. She's struggling like crazy. There's just so much that is really, is really going on. And I know that if I hadn't gotten into a very long term, serious relationship, I would probably still be struggling occasionally. And if I still lived in New London, I'd be very, very sad. And in private practice, I wouldn't be able to move to New York, because I wouldn't have made enough to qualify for any of the co-ops that are there that, you know, want you to make like 40 times the rent or something like that, you know. So that doesn't, you know, that's not a very comfortable feeling. But, you know, I know people get into this field, and I'm talking about, you know, mostly women. Women get into this field and they want to feel like they're doing something for the world, and men too, you know. I feel like I'm just talking from like the female perspective today. And they like, and they feel like they're doing something, and like they feel like they're doing something honorable. And I mean, I didn't know what I was getting into when I was getting into art therapy, and I thought that I could go into private practice, and then finding out later that I can't was a disappointment. I can't go into private practice with only the ATR. If people were like, yeah, you know, art therapy is totally a thing, and like that works, and we respect that, then I probably would have a lot of clients who completely want to come to me and pay out of pocket. But I'm really glad that I got my LPC and have been, you know, moving kind of away from the art therapy community, because, you know, some people are assholes, and I'm tired of it, and I'm like broken from all the experiences that, if I just relied on art therapy, would have let me down. So, you know, honestly, I think that if people want to live above the poverty line, that social work, or, you know, marriage and family therapists, much more respected, much more understood field, many more jobs available. And if you want to do trainings or read outside of, you know, the office, and do your own artwork, and kind of figure out what, you know, if you feel comfortable and you feel like you are trained to help other people with having some sort of artwork involved in your therapy sessions, then you can definitely have that aspect. As far as I know, once my classmate gets her ATR, I'm gonna get a bunch of supervision from her, like really pound it out in a month and a half, and you know, get my ATR, just so that I have some like sort of kind of identity. But, you know, like it's like it's kind of its own thing at this point for me right now. And I don't know if I fully believe in the art therapy community. I definitely believe in the power of art and the way that it heals some people, and that it is such a great way to express oneself. And I fully believe that it does get to the places with traumatized people where there are no words, and that is just so powerful. But there's all of these other, you know, politics that come with it that I just don't like, and that I just don't want to be a part of. I understand doing stuff for the LPC, which is going to get me money back, you know, like it's going to be a return on investment, ROI. ATR, there's no real ROI on that, you know, and I don't know if I went to a program that was just straight up art therapy, if I would get an ROI on that. Like, I'm still kind of waiting for that. So kind of getting the disgruntled art therapist here, whereas like everyone else is like, hey, look at all this cool stuff that we can do. Yeah, that's great. But, you know, like, I don't think that you fully understand what's going on behind that, you know? Anyway, I hope that you are doing well, and I'm so glad that you guys are watching these things, and I will talk with you guys soon. Thanks so much for watching and liking and subscribing and all that great stuff. All right, thanks so much. Bye.